Hello, everybody. My name is Sean. I am a mid 40s gamer who, on a whim, has decided to go ahead and record a Let's Play of Baldur's Gate 3. A little background about me. I've been playing games since I was a kid. I go back to like Commodore 64, Atari 2600 days. I did play Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Loved them both when I was younger. I do have like a full-time job and a kid and wife and pets and all the fun things that keep me busy. So I don't have as much time for gaming as some other people out there do. So this will be a balanced run. I'm not going to be trying to do anything funky or fun or anything like that as far as doing a higher level run. Um, you will occasionally hear my dogs in the background. I do apologize for anything like that. Um, that's kind of a little bit there. My intentions with this run is to do it without any kind of save scumming or anything like that. I will do a few respecs here and there for characters as kind of like builds are coming together. But for the most part, I will be sticking to whatever the dice roll, the dice roll. If I have an inspiration, I have an inspiration. Um, that's kind of what my plan is. I would love if people want to tag along. If nobody does, that's fine. I'll probably still post the videos. Um, but that's pretty much where I'm going with that. I do have an idea of what I want to do with the characters. Um, and I'll kind of be talking through both that and kind of little lore bits I know about, why I do the things I do in the game, trying to point out some fun things I've found. Some of them are from videos, some of the things I've just stumbled over, some of the things I've gotten from friends playing through, and I see they find it, and I go, oh, whoa, that's cool. I'm going to pick that up on my next run. All right, so that is that. I have actually completed 2 other playthroughs and have quite a few other playthroughs that I've gotten pretty far into. So if I do move faster through the game, it's just because I've done a lot of the early places before, but I'm not planning to skip any of the FMVs, and I will try my hardest to not. Alright, and here we go. We're going to start a balanced run. It is going to have an opening FMV that I think is just a great setup. And here we go. If there's no dialogue in the FMV, I'll probably talk a little bit through it. But I will try my very hardest to not talk over any dialogue. In this case, our opening is we are opening on an illithid or a mind flayer. They're kind of interchangeable terms for the same thing. Um, this character here is actually one of our companions we'll be able to recruit. She is a playable origin character, but I'm not going to play as an origin character, but her name is Lae'zel. She is a Githyanki. Githyanki were at one time enslaved by illithids. Um, so they basically they rebelled and became independent, and so she definitely knows what he's doing. He's gone and collected this little tadpole. These infect hosts. They're a parasite, and they turn them into illithids. This is how they kind of reproduce. So she very much knows what's going on right now and is appropriately terrified. Not that she would admit fear. Um, Githyanki very proud. And now he's coming over to us, to our character, with his mental powers. And our very own tadpole. Which is kind of like a horrifying start, but definitely very good. Larian kills these cutscenes. And now our narrator has asked who we are. So we do have some options here. We can play as 6 of the origin characters: Astarion, Lae'zel, Gale, Shadowheart, Will, or Karlach. We can also play as a Dark Urge, which is a specialized run that they've done. They don't recommend it being your first run, though. Um, which is somebody who has just this darkness in them that's trying to have them do evil things. But we're gonna play as a custom character. Now, what are we going to play as? That is the very real question. I think I'm going to play as an elf, because elves do get short sword, short bow, and long bow. So I'll have some bows, which I probably won't use very much. What's my Githyanki here? Light and medium armor. Ooh, I kind of like that, actually. And I still get the short sword. I think I might play as a Githyanki. Because I also like Astral Knowledge. It's actually really, really handy. And then they'll eventually get some other cantrips too that are not too bad. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to actually play as a Githyanki. My intention is to play as a sorcerer. Should be a male Githyanki in this case, because I do intend to romance Karlach, but also every other run I've completed so far has been as a female character. I've petered out on my male character runs, so we're gonna do a male character. All right, so for my cantrips, I do want light. Githyanki do not have very good dark vision, so we do want that. I'm actually gonna take firebolts. I'm going to take Shocking Grasp. And then for my last one, I think I'm actually going to take Friends. I'm a sorcerer, I'm a social person. This can give me some advantage on a lot of charisma-based checks. So this is what I like here. That's what we're going to go with. My intention with this character is to go with something of like a spell sniper type build. So I'm going to be able to kind of do a lot of pew-pewing, for lack of a better word. I do intend to take a particular feat called spells. I think it's Spell Sniper. That's going to give me Eldritch Blast, so that will end up replacing a lot of my cantrips. That's kind of my early plan in my head. We'll see if I stick with that. For my main spells, I'm going to take Magic Missile. I think Magic Missile is one of the best spells in the game. There's a few instances where having it is just incredibly valuable. And then I'm going to take Chromatic Orb. It's one of the ones that works with the twin spell meta magic feat, so it lets you get that in. Ice Knife works with that too, but Chromatic Orb can technically hit just a little bit harder than Ice Knife if you're using the thunder damage, and it has some other effects, so you can do some stuff. And then Ice Knife's little AoE explosion can kind of be a little bit of a pain for your melee. I am going to be a Draconic bloodline. I think that's actually really, really appropriate with a Githyanki. They have a lot of ties to dragons. Typically they're red, but I'm actually going to go gold. I like Disguise Self. It's a great way to pick it up. I just think, I don't know. I'm just going to go gold. That's my choice there. For my background, now we're going to be very social. We're charisma based. We have a lot of choices. Hadn't really thought this through, so good job me on that one. Insight and persuasion, that's actually not bad, but we can take persuasion, I think, either way. Let's go and see. I just don't know. Open the wilds, but those skills don't really tie to what we're doing very well. I think we're actually going to take Sage. It doesn't really... I mean, they're both intelligence-based skills. Yeah, I think we'll take Sage. And then for abilities, I'm going to keep a very high charisma. That's kind of one of the things I'm going to do intentionally. I'm gonna buy this down just a little bit. I would like my dexterity to be a little bit higher. Hmm. Hmm. That's what we're gonna do. There's an item that's gonna help boost my intelligence. And I do want my charisma to be 17. There's a thing that we're gonna try and get later that's gonna help boost my charisma by 1 point. So that'll give me the 18. Typically you want even numbers if you can. I am gonna take a little bit of hit on my constitution this way, but we're gonna be building this guy as a little bit more hanging back. And he'll actually be able to be pretty stout if I want to, because he'll have the ability to wear medium armor. So especially kind of early in the game, we can have that medium armor on until we get some of the more powerful robes that are later in the game. I do want persuasion. I might actually keep deception. I kind of like that. That really fits. Again, very social character. Githyanki have an ability that every day they can pick a stat and know all of them, know all the ones, the skills for it, and be proficient. So I think I'll use that a lot, probably for the wisdom skills, because you can see that's animal handling, insight, medicine, perception, survival. Perception and survival are both really strong. Insight's pretty strong. So I could use that daily there and really kind of cover that set of skills. So I like that. Yep, we're gonna go with this. Let's talk about editing our appearance a little bit. There's a couple things I'm going to actually jump on first before anything else. I really want to kind of pick what I want this to look like. Um, so one of the reasons I actually don't mind doing this on Githyanki, especially that, is it does kind of like meld into the spots. So like if you look, they always have these spots on their face, and you can't really adjust those very well. But now this is going to ultimately cover those up a lot anyway. Um, I think I kind of like that, really. I like the thicker, darker one of these. I think that one. And let's find a really good gold. Ooh, yeah, like nice dark gold. And then if we go back, let's pick kind of a skin tone. You know, neutral tone, more like a darker tone. It actually pops on that. Githyanki's skin kind of runs a gamut. They have a lot of like kind of the green. I don't think the green looks as good with the gold. Kind of like that, actually. I think that looks really good. I think the gold really pops well with that. So now let's look at our faces. One thing that drives a lot of people nuts about the Githyanki is the way their noses are basically like, I don't know, like the Whoville noses from the Grinch. Um, ooh, I actually like that one though. Very confident looking. Yep, I think that's what we're gonna go with. Scars. The one problem with scars is like with the way the dragon scales work, they don't always look as good. They kind of get covered up a lot, which is fine. Um, kind of like that actually, just like a lot of little tiny scars around on his face. We're on with that. This is a guy who's been in a fight or two. Githyanki are very warlike, so for him, it's probably being more of a sorcerer. They kind of probably picked on him a lot. Um, let's see. I think we might skip tattoos. I don't know if we're gonna do one here. Just because. Ooh, what about something like that? Actually, I like that. That looks really good. The biggest thing is the way they interact with like these. We don't want something that's gonna be high on the face, but I kind of like that. That looks really good. Um, let's pick a theme kind of color for the character, like something we're gonna have everything kind of blend in with it really good. So I'm just going to show up really well. And I actually like that dark red. That looks really good. Yep, I think that's our winner right there. Looks good with the gold too. Piercings. I think we're going to go with some classic barterings. I end up using these a lot just because I think, well, one, unlike some of the other piercings, they're symmetrical, and that's just something that bothers me when stuff like that's not. Eyes, I don't love the topaz except for a gold dragon, so it kind of actually does look good. So I think we are going to keep kind of the yellow eye theme. Yeah, but I think I nailed it. We'll just keep that topaz one. That looks really good. What's that one look like? Oh, yeah. Back to that. Yep. I think it was great from the start. We're just going to keep that makeup. Actually going to get rid of the little bit of makeup they put on there. He doesn't have time for that. Hair. His hair's kind of cool too. We might just keep this. Man, we're not very creative today, are we? I do like the darker hair though. Let's go with that. Or do the raven? Yeah, let's do the raven. And let's go and have that red highlight really come through and pop. And more red though. Ooh, darker red. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Kind of like the idea that he's not very happy that he's not a red dragon sorcerer. He's a gold dragon, so he's trying to do a lot of red on him elsewhere. Not all of the beards and stuff look good on Githyanki. We might not do one. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think with our tattoo, we're just going to keep him beard free. Yep. Alright, so there we go. That's our character. I think that's pretty good looking. We're going to run with that. And then we're going to give him a name. We're going to call him Asher. Yep. Alright, off we go. And let's begin. Oh, tried to jump the gun. We do need a guardian. I love to randomize the guardian. What do we got? Yeah, what would gnome guardian? Alright, so now you can see we picked up right away. It was actually a pretty creative way to bring the character creation into it. So our Illithid is now moving past some other dead Illithids. They don't really explain why there's some dead ones on the ship already. Spoiler alert, we're on a ship. So this is an Illithid nautiloid, which is basically how they travel between the different planes and astral realm and such. Currently we are over the city of Yartar, which is near Neverwinter. It's a bit further north than Baldur's Gate. We know it's not Baldur's Gate because those aren't Flaming Fist guards. Those are whatever Yartars calls their guards. This is so cool. Like, this just shows how destructive these nautiloids can be. And so it looks like they're killing these people, but in fact they're actually capturing them. So you can see, oh, just come along, doing what we want, but still some dead mind flayers, and that's probably why they are gathering people, because they need new ones. Or at least that's what we're, I think, supposed to assume. We have our Githyanki who come through a portal, flying their red dragons. These are Githyanki knights. They ride these dragons into battle. Rip that off, and you can see that actually hurts the mind flayer because he's connected with the ship right now. The Githyanki are constantly fighting against Illithids. They're trying to destroy them. So these ones are hunting this group down. And now he's going to connect it. This is essentially like the spell jamming head for the Illithid Mind Flayer ship. And they can actually just jump between realms. I honestly don't know what realm we have jumped to. We can see there's a lot of like purplish crystals and things like that, and just some amazing FMV. Just a really great job. He realizes he's still being chased, so we're on something. Now we have Lae'zel, who's kind of awake now and is trying to break out. Of course, she sees her kin. And we've jumped to another realm. Dragon's very mad because it lost us. And now you can see we're kind of waking up a little bit. We see Lae'zel. Now she could turn and help us, but that's just not her way. Through the hole they ripped in the ship, she can see. And I love this because, like, you see, like, the 3, but is it Baldur's Gate 3? No, they're battle platforms. We are in Avernus. This is the Blood War, which is a constant battle that's happening in Avernus, which is the first layer of their hell. Kind of amazing. Great FMV. And then we're going to cut to us kind of waking up. Our pod's opening. We're coming to. Okay, and here we are.
Finally free. I must find my kin.
There we go. Okay, there might have been a strange little pause right there in the audio. I actually had to take a call from my wife. Luckily, it was well timed, right at the end of the FMVs. So I paused, so hopefully we don't have like a big long lag in the video. Like I said, this is my first time ever doing some kind of recording like this.
Don't mind if I do.
I am currently exploring. I'm also going to rearrange my spells just a little bit. I think we can get away with just this one for right now. I usually like to put my like non-combat-y stuff over here for my cantrips so they're out of the way of my normal spells. And then all my cantrips and my level 1 spells. Alright, we're exploring our Nautiloid where we woke up. Actually going to go ahead and specialize in this. I'm going to jump down, take a little point of damage. Now, one of the reasons I really like the Dragon Sorcerer versus, say, something like the Wild Magic is the little bit of armor class bump. So you can see with my 16 dex, I still have a 16 AC. Really, really handy, especially when I start wearing the robes that don't give as much armor. It's going to help protect me a little bit. That was a trap disarm kit. Not the coolest thing we get there, but not useless, that's for sure. Not very useful in this place, but that's fine. You can see I hit that little thing and it refreshes. In the regular mode it refreshes, in the like honor mode it doesn't. But it does essentially treat like I had rested. I get my spell slots back, I get my hit points back, things like that. And you probably hear a little voice in the background saying, "We are here." It is coming from this body here. But more specifically, it is coming from the brain of this body. So let's investigate.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
Please. Before they return. They return.
Now, what's fun here is Githyanki get a special thing, and that actually will happen throughout the game, that certain races or classes will get special choices. Githyanki hate, they call mind flayers geeks. So they're going to give me the option to just destroy it. That's why even though I failed my perception, I still know what it is. I'm actually
Remove
going
us
to
from this
go a
body.
different way.
From this case. Free us.
So I have some options. I can investigate. Investigation is an intelligence skill, so I don't have the best. I can break the skull, I can try to pry it out, or I can just destroy it. Very Githyanki. I'm gonna first try the dexterity. I'm gonna try and pry this out. Have a bit of a bonus, let's see. And I failed miserably. Well, no little pet intellect devour for me. So you can see, I'm gonna try. Oh, just can't quite squeeze it out. Well, oh well.
The brain won't budge.
Yep, so just destroy it. Probably more character appropriate to do that anyway. And for the most part, I will try to make character-based decisions. Now, unlike a lot of Githyanki, who are kind of lawful evil by default, I'm going to be playing this guy as a much more good character. Kind of with the idea that he was kind of not well looked on. Most Githyanki would be like Eldritch Knights, so fighters, things like that, with some magic involved. And he is a sorcerer. Our introduction to Lae'zel.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the Gith's eyes.
My head. What is this? Skvar. You are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive. Have you forgotten yourself? Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers. Who am I? Your only chance of survival. First, we exterminate the Giths. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. We will address the matter of a cure for this infection once we reach the material plane.
Sorry. And now we have our first combat. Okay, so up top, initiative order. This is just saying what order we're going to go. If you have two of your characters together, you can choose what order you decide to do their attacks. In this case, Lae'zel, I might actually have her attack with her sword. Not sure why she would have had her bow out. That one's a little far away. We're actually going to come over and attack this guy first. And there she goes. Being Lae'zel, she takes him out. She's actually gonna move this way. Then we'll end her turn. Now it comes around to me. Now I could use a cantrip. They do decent damage. You can see these things only have 6 hit points if you actually look up at the top. But I am instead going to actually use magic missile. Its minimum damage is 6, so I know I'm going to kill someone. And I know a little further in the room we have one of these that will let me get my spells back. And we're just going to be safe. We're going to use all 3 on the same one. Oh, could have split them up a little bit, but that's okay. This guy's going to come over, take a swing, and miss Lazelle. I'm actually going to let her just take the swing at it. And there we go. We can start looting.
Surprisingly adequate in battle.
Lazelle is very single-minded in purpose. There we go. That's a that's a safe way to describe it. She's definitely like she's drinking the Gith Kool-Aid for sure. The Gith are actually ruled over by Vlaakith, who is like a Lich Queen, and has basically said this is how the world's gonna be. I have a very, like I said, specific idea with this character in mind, so that's why I picked Gith. There's some items I'm going to need to be able to equip. I should be able to. Alright, so we did pick a few things up. For instance, we did pick up short swords. I can use short swords, so one of the things you'll see is I have a much better chance to hit with that than the quarterstaff. So if I am in melee and I decide I don't use a spell, I can try to use a sword. There's things that might be immune to like shocking grasp. And then I'm gonna put a light crossbow on, same idea. I just want to have some options available to me. My dogs are currently woofing at each other because they are fighting over the same piece of rawhide shoe. That's just what they do. So I apologize if you're hearing that in the background. Managed to find another piece of rawhide, so hopefully that will keep them busy. Alright. And you can see I used our little rest thing to get my spells back. We picked up a couple of little items. One of the things I'm actually very bad about is using a lot of items on runs, especially scrolls. That's one of the things that made me decide to play a sorcerer, because since I can't memorize the scrolls like a wizard does, I will be much more likely to use them. Alright, so I kind of split our party up a little bit. These all say something. I know what the one in the middle does. It turns them alive so we can fight them and get some XP. Not to be greedy. So I've kind of positioned Lazelle to be able to attack either one. Alright, perfect. So we're going to have Lazelle go after this guy. You can see we killed him. And then since I know I've got this right here, quite honestly, I'm just going to magic missile this guy, and we win. Look at us go. Oh, we're so good.
Let's have a look.
And I don't know why I let her pick things up. Ultimately, this stuff would still be with her after the prologue, but
Here goes nothing.
I'd rather just keep it with me. It's easier. And we're gonna actually come over here. I'm gonna control her for a minute because I know when we open this door, there's gonna be a little intellect devourer that we can attack. That's actually easier to do with that. Now, I'm right here. I'm gonna go ahead and shock and grasp it. I did a little bit of damage, and then I can actually even pop a little flourishing and miss. And then she can come over and try to do that real quick. And there we go, we killed it. Now technically, it is not dead.
Still breathing.
So I am going to come over and just finish it off. There we go. Critically hit it. If something's knocked out or asleep or unconscious, you pretty much automatically crit it when you hit it with any kind of melee or ranged attack. So you can get a lot of good damage that way. Let's go up here. We're gonna
What
grab
are
some
you
things.
doing
So now as far as the way I plan to build my party,
there? For what?
Lae'zel actually is not in my long-term party goals. But this other character who was yelling for help, and probably assumes because we're Githyanki we didn't help her. Um, this is Shadowheart. She will be in my long-term goals, although we will be respecking her some. But to get her out, I had to pick this thing up.
The console appears dormant.
Socket, see, it shapes like the rune I found. Yep, I need that.
The console hums to life.
Place my hand on it.
Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. A parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
And this is the parasite on my head being used to
You
connect.
feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
At last. I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness because you're a gift.
You're a Gith. Why did you help me? And you expect what in return exactly? Githyanki aren't given to charity.
She's not wrong.
That's what your kind does. They take. Still, you did help me. We both need all the help we can get. Let's try to get off this thing together. One moment. It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the helm. Now.
She's right. Lead on.
Okay, so Shadowheart is somewhat racist towards Gith, but it's not exactly misplaced. Githyanki are not exactly known as, we'll just say, benevolent people. We're also going to load her up. We're going to give her a crossbow, and we're going to actually go ahead and adjust one of her spells. Known, we're going to give her that. I probably won't be using it, but I like having it as an option for command. At least not right now.
Let's get going.
So she's not misplacing it, but again, I'm playing my character as an unusual Gith. That's kind of shunned by his own people. And maybe a little ashamed that he has a gold dragon ancestor, not a red dragon ancestor. So there we go. That's kind of our plan. We don't really need to hit that. We are moving towards the end of the prologue. It's going to save for us here. And
Now we're
again,
in the helm. Once inside, do as I say.
Who put you in charge? I'll trust my own judgment.
Yank.
they're best friends already, those two. It's kind of a thing. They actually fight through the whole game. I'm not going to be save scumming. There is a very powerful item we are still going to try to get, but no promises if we get it based on just what our rolls end up being. So you can see a whole big battle happening here. Illithids versus the forces of Avernus. Slaughtered by imps. And then we see a mind blast against.
Connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape.
So we do have our Cambion Commander Zalk fighting our Mind Flayer. And you can see Commander Zalk is level 8, so is a Mind Flayer, and they have significantly more hit points than us, but Zalk has quite a bit more than anybody. So that's where we stand. We're needing to do this. This is our kind of order that we go in, which is a little inconvenient, but that's fine. I will be going first, so I'm actually going to be going after this imp. So we're going to use our firebolt, and we did successfully kill him. I probably should have done that one. It still would have killed him too. I'm going to go here with the goal. I'm going to actually be going around. I'm going to be trying to move these two barrels closer to that, because if we are going to kill these two, we're going to need that. So I'm kind of starting that little creep around to go over that way. And hopefully this Mind Blast hits. Oh, he saved! No! That would have been very, very good if that had not been a save. But it is what it is. Now, Shadowheart is actually going to shoot at this guy. Take him out. I do want to take out this kind of first line of enemies before we go over here. And of course, he just ignored her and went for me, because I don't know. But we did pretty successfully kind of murder the first three, which does feel good. Now, jumping in combat, you can see, like, if I just moved, I would only get about as far as Shadowheart. But if I can use that bonus action to jump, I can get way further. So it is worthwhile to jump when you can, if you don't need your bonus action for something else. And then I'm starting to move these over with her. Alright, so that was the first round. Here we go. So he did miss, which is good. Now, if you don't have a super high strength, the jumping's not as worthwhile. But in this case, it was fine. It didn't really make a lot of difference. A 10 is basically you're going to get about as far. But Lae'zel being a fighter, very strong. Strong girl. Actually, I think it's really funny that the two strongest companions starting out are female, because D&D is very open. Everybody's equal. There's nothing like what unfortunately exists in our world of preconceptions. Alright, so I'm going to Magic Missile Zalk. Let's start getting some damage on him. Now, the reason I Magic Missile instead of Chromatic Orb, technically a Chromatic Orb can hit harder, but these are guarantee hits, and those were good ones. We just did 13 points, so I did near max damage. Huge chunk down on him. Love it. It's a great start. Hopefully this guy hits. Can you do it? There you go, 15. So now we've actually kind of chunked him a little bit.
We must take the transponder.
We knocked about 28 off of him. And this is where, like, fingers crossed, this is going to hit, but we're going to try a Guiding Bolt. Oh, and it hit. Good. Another 16. So he's lost almost a third of his health in a round. That's really good. It's also going to give the next melee attack or range attack against him advantage, which is huge. Advantage means we roll two dice, and whichever one is higher hits. Disadvantage is the opposite. You roll two, and whichever one's lower is the one you go with. So we're kind of positioning those barrels. We're not actually going to do a ranged attack. It's not her strong suit. So you can see, like, her dex is lower than her well, you can't see, but if we were to look at her character sheet, you can see her dex is a lot lower than her strength. She also has this thing called Great Weapon Fighting, which means she can do more damage with great weapons. So we're going to hold off on an attack here. So we're actually going to go ahead and double move. In this case, we're going to try to move around behind him. doesn't really affect anything, but it helps go that way faster later. So we're gonna end her turn. We're back to Zog. He got to do a little swing, so Mind Flayer's down. They're actually kind of even on percentage, which is good. We're gonna move these barrels. The problem is the Mind Flayer, or Zog hits a lot harder than the Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer can hit really hard, but has not been. And then we're gonna go ahead and do another magic missile. We're just gonna try and get some damage on him. Another pretty good one actually. Only 2 points shy of max damage. 5 being the max for each of the missiles. So another 13 damage on him, which is really good. We got him down to 93. Our goal is to get him down to 30 or less, preferably less.
These birds have seen everything.
I'm going to move this way. I'm going to actually be moving up. There is another set of enemies that trigger that we do also have to work on, so it's kind of like a balancing game that we're doing. There we go. Good hit. Used up the guiding bolt, unfortunately, but we're actually getting about halfway. One other thing we want to intentionally do is try to loot these Mind Flayer bodies, just because they are, they usually have gems on them. We're gonna go and pop another guiding bolt. We're gonna hope this hits. Come on, do it. Oh, and it hit. Man, that's actually really good. The only thing that's really missed so far, unfortunately, was the Mind Blast. The downside is that stuns him and does a good chunk of damage. But we have him down pretty low, 67, so he's got less than half his health. That's not bad for a couple rounds. And this is where we're going to yellow. And you can see this green 64%. That means I have advantage. The reason it's so hard to hit him is because he is 8th level. And we are first. But we're going to go for it. Yellow. And it hits. He didn't take the bleed. But I'm actually okay with that. Oh, goodness. You know what we didn't reset? We didn't get that back yet. That's fine. That's not the end of the world. But we do have our Commander Zog down to 62. We need to do about 30-ish more damage to him. Before he murders our Mind Flayer. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and trigger this next set of enemies. Oh, I didn't mean to skip that. I do apologize. I've done this intro many times, so sometimes I will accidentally do that. Alright, so we're going to Firebolt. Ooh, a critical hit. That would have been good against Mr. Zalk, except he's, I believe, resistant. One thing you can always do with enemies, examine them. Yeah, you can see he's resistant to fire and electricity, so I don't do very much to him. But that was a good hit. We took out one of our guys. Hopefully this guy will hit. Yes! Good hit. And now Shadowheart is going to move up and we're going to try and take out this other imp. Little ranged attack. Didn't quite kill it, but that's okay. We're not doing too bad. And we're going to keep Lae'zel on him. You know, 40% hit. Not super high, but maybe we get lucky. And we did. We did a few damage. Again, one of the things we noticed, he has resistance to slashing. Like, he's not supposed to take a lot of damage from us. And he is a high level, which is fun. I mean, look at that stat spread. Like, oh, he's beefy. But we have him down to 47. 1 to 2 more rounds, we can potentially do it, as long as he doesn't kill our Mind Flayer. Mind Flayer is almost halfway down. And just took a huge chunk. Alright, so we do need to try and kill these other two. I'm going to go for this boar. Did kill the boar. That's absolutely massive. Here's the fingers crossed that this guy hits him. Oh, really didn't want that to be a miss, guy. So this is where I have to kind of do a little decision making, and I think I'm going to try to do a little bit more damage just this on Mr. Zalk here. And it failed. Hey, that's not what we wanted to see. And then she's going to go ahead and loot this. Now you think that puts her in a little more danger, but she's got a good AC. We actually all have 16, so we're pretty good. Oh, another good hit actually. So I love that they go together, because in the end we're going to be blowing these up, so she'll need to get out, so we can actually have her do an action then leave. So I'm going to leave her in for one more round. I mean, literally just flew past. Okay, so I'm going to come over and try to shocking grasp this guy. It also is getting me out of the explosion radius, which is kind of part of it too. Now you saw these two guys pop up. They are actually way, way out here. So it'll be a couple rounds before they're involved. We can see the Mind Flayer really can barely take another hit. So hopefully he hits here. We need a big chunk of damage. And he missed. You're the best player on their team, guy. We're gonna risk it for the biscuit. We're gonna go one more round here. And I really would have loved if that hit, but what are you gonna do, right? We did take another little chunk off. And he missed, so that's to the good. And I am going to just go for it. I know he has resistance to it, but we're going to just try to do some fire damage. Did a little bit, actually. Respectable. Now these two Kamins are going to move up here. And this is where we're starting to get a little risky. If they start getting further into the room, we might have problems. Oh my god, I really needed that to be a hit, my guy. Okay. Lae'zel's gonna take a swing. Hopefully hit. Didn't hit. Time for her to get out. This is where we cross our fingers and hope the damage rolls are high. Shadowheart's gonna blow this bad boy up. And you can see we almost did it. He's got 5 left. Now she's gonna start moving towards this. So hopefully we live. We did get the Mind Flayer killed, which means we do get experience for killing the Mind Flayer, which is good. He took another one. He's low, but you can see, like, he definitely does damage. Kind of stuck, because even if I res her, she won't be able to attack this turn. I have advantage to hit with that. I'm going to go for it. Let's do it. Oh, and we got the kill. Absolutely massive. Huge chunk of XP, and I get the item. And
Find a way forward.
as these guys move in, like, we don't want to mess around. We're leaving, but this actually was kind of the best case scenario. The only thing that's kind of a bummer is we don't get to loot the Mind Flayer, which means we lose like a gem. She is going to go ahead and throw this to try to bring Lae'zel up. Lae'zel's up. Lae'zel can do a bonus action, so she's going to do that. And start moving this way.
I'm ready.
Shadowheart's going to move this way. And this is, again, risking it for the biscuit. I like to be... Oh, I get to actually be on my main character. He goes first. Awesome.
Time to strike.
So you can see I can't quite get there, but I can bonus action to hit this. I can dash. I like the main character to hit this if you can, but any character can hit the transponder. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run up. We're going to hit it, and then we're going to go into cutscenes. We escaped.
The Helm's alien transponder. You made it in time.
All I have to do is hit it, and we escape. Boom. But now we're kind of floating in the void while it's waiting to get us somewhere. Oh, here we go. We have to separate them so we don't just stay in the astral sea, basically. I love that they really kind of brought like a little bit of Spelljammer into this. Spelljammer is one of my favorite D&D ways to play. Basically, it's space pirates. Let's go. Okay, and we're going to be coming into the next cutscene. There are a lot of FMVs early in the game, obviously, that's pretty common. We're going to get little flashes of people we're going to be dealing with. That's a tiefling. We have our hobgoblin leader, Dror Ragzlin, I think I pronounced that right. And then Minthara, who's working with the hobgoblin. She's a drow. She's actually a drow paladin that is recruitable. And then a bunch of goblins that kind of work for those two. See, I'm getting thrown around as we're crashing, and then eventually I'm knocked out of the ship. Thankfully something saved me, so we don't have an awkward end to the game as it begins. And here we are waking up on the beach the next morning.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull. Other than the infection, you're more or less intact. A miracle, given everything you've been through, but it'll all be for nothing if you don't find help soon. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
Alright, there we go, we get to level up. Love that we got to kill Zalk too, that was absolutely massive. You can see we picked up this sword, didn't really get to talk about it. It's a great sword. I could not equip it, I actually don't have great sword proficiency, but this is going to be really big for our main damage dealers early, which will initially be Lae'zel when we recruit her, but my end goal is to have it be Karlach actually. Once we get to her, which is just a little bit later. She's the last of the kind of main companions that you can equip, you can recruit, but you still get her fairly quickly. Alright, so we're going to level up, and then we're going to actually end this recording, and we'll start another one from here. So leveling up, I get to pick another spell. Now this is interesting. I am planning this character to be very damage heavy. That's an intentional thing on my part. So I'm going to pick an kind of an up close AoE spell. There's not like a big long range like huge fireball that you can get at level 1. So I kind of have to decide between Burning Hands and Thunder Wave. Burning Hands does a little bit more damage, but it's a narrower attack. And Thunder Wave has an interesting kind of effect that will go with it. In that it will knock, or can potentially knock back targets. And I think that's what I'm going to go with. I could theoretically go with like shield, but I have a pretty solid armor class. I was 16 already. I can wear medium armor early, which will kind of help bump it up even a little higher potentially. And I also have mage armor as a choice, but again, I already have that 13 AC. I don't need to take mage armor. That's the reason I like the dragon blood. So we're going to do Thunderwave. For my passives, this is where I can pick some of my meta magic. That's something that sorcerers have that's pretty powerful. Careful spells, fine. It just lets people automatically make their saves. I'm going to try intentionally not destroy my team. And I'm going to be using a lot of scrolls anyway, so that wouldn't really work with that. So I'm going to do distant. So if I need to be further back, I can. And it lets even my melee, so I could actually shock and grasp up to 9 meters away, which is pretty strong. or if I get Vampiric Touch, I can use that at a range, which is one I'm potentially thinking about doing. And then Twin Spells. This is probably going to get a lot more use. It lets you take a spell and use it twice. You can't hit the same target with it, but I discussed that. That's when I picked Chromatic Orb. I will probably use that a lot with Chromatic Orb. I do have the ability to change a spell. You can see I can pick out one of the spells I have. Not going to. I want to keep Magic Missile. I want to keep Chromatic Orb. But later, as I kind of phase certain things out, we'll probably see like Chromatic Orb might get set aside. Alright, so there we go. I've leveled up. You can see I got some additional hit points, which is nice. These kind of appeared. I usually move these over to this side, just kind of to keep track of everything. I'll try to keep my spells as neat as I can. I'll be honest, Shadowheart, I probably won't do it early because she's going to get a respec at some point anyway. Alright, so that's where we're going to leave off. Like I said, I'm going to stop this recording. I'm going to go use the bathroom, do grown-up things, and then I'm going to come back to it. Thank you guys for checking it out, and gals, for checking it out. Very much appreciate it. If probably even if it doesn't get a lot of viewers, I'm going to keep this going. I'm probably going to record several sessions today, and then I will try to start posting them once I have enough recorded that I feel like I will be able to keep up. I do have, real life, so I don't get to play quite as much as, streamers do that get to play all day on Twitch. But it does happen to be a holiday weekend when I'm starting this, and my wife happens to be out of town. So I get to actually do a little bit now to kind of build up a nice little cushion of recordings. Thank you all. I will try to keep most of the recordings to an hour, maybe to an hour and a half, just kind of depending on where it goes. This one might just be a little bit shorter because the prologue's only so long. But we will see you again on the next one.